So something that is unreal, which is all imaginary, which you do not, it could be even, but the main thing, even when you're writing imaginary stuff, make it realistic. Now, what do you mean by make it realistic? Make it in a manner that it is believable, right? Because you see the stories and all Hindi movies and all that, yes, it is all fiction and stuff. But then even in this fiction, all of a sudden you see there is so much of exaggeration that you feel like, oh my God, this is a comedy movie. So if you do not want your story to be a comic, make sure you write in a way which is which includes all realistic scenarios, situations, basically. Okay, so now there are three different types of fiction irony which you can take down. First is verbal irony. I'll just tell you what it all means. Verbal irony. Next is, you've taken down, next is situational irony, then dramatic irony. Okay, so now in verbal irony, what happens? What is irony, by the way? When we say, yeah, it's an ironic sentence or something, what is irony?
That itself contradicts what it's trying to convey.
Yeah, perfect. Self contradicts what's trying to convey. So basically it is, your verbal irony is just that intended meaning is different from the actual outcome. Or I can also give you another example for those who are still trying to understand what an irony means. I don't know, see, now the eyelashes are actually meant to prevent stuff from going into your eyes. Okay, but it's so ironic that most often what falls into our eyes are our eyelashes itself. No one even laughed.
Yeah, we got that.
What?
Okay, I got that.
I say, basically it's self-contradictory. Now, so your verbal irony is basically intended meaning is different from the actual outcome. So if you, before going into those stuff, let me just tell you what irony means. Irony is so the example that I gave you was, see, our eyelashes are meant from stuff entering into our eyes. But it's so ironic that most often nothing else but our eyelashes itself gets stuck into our eyes. Got it?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so that is your verbal irony. So if you see the intended meaning is different from the actual outcome, maybe your audience is looking at an outcome or a climax in, they may try to say that, oh, okay, fine, this is going to happen, that is going to happen, this is what it's going to end up like. But you give them a shocker which with a different turn and a twist, and they'll be like, oh wow, I didn't see that coming. So this, you can say, this is your situational irony, wherein the expected outcome is different from the actual outcome. And your third one, which is your dramatic irony, is basically the audience knows about the character's situation more than the characters themselves. So here, if I give you an example of Romeo and Juliet. Okay, so we as audience, we know that Juliet hasn't died for real, but it's only a magical potion that she has taken to like sleep for 2 to 3 days. But Romeo is unaware of this. But we as audience, we are aware of the situation, right? And the character themselves, they do not know what's happening. So that is your dramatic irony. So it depends on which style you want to go ahead and use. Clear?
Yes.
Verbal,
Yes, ma'am.
situational, and dramatic. Yeah, perfect. Yeah, so establish the characters and set the story plot, establishing the central problem, climax. So again, climax, if you want to end it off in book 1 without having a sequel to it, it could be maybe a dramatic irony would be the best way, or it would be the situational irony. That again depends on you. But if you're coming up with version 2, make sure you leave a lot of curious situations, or maybe you just ended off with a lot of suspense.